critical of human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining for this Power of One. Eileen, how are you?
I'm pretty good. We were just chit-chatting about who made the music. And I think I recognize, like, you're allowed to play like 5 seconds of some songs, aren't you? Without a strike?
I don't know anymore.
5 seconds?
I don't know. If you have that Shazam app, it can literally, it doesn't even need a full second of a song. It just needs just the tiniest little fraction. It's amazing.
I got those strikes on my own songs, and I got strikes on John Binney's, and he doesn't mind if I upload them because I'm promoting his channel. So I didn't take them down, and they weren't full copyright strikes against my channel, but the money will go somewhere else. Wherever it goes, it goes. I don't know.
I figure we could just talk about it. I do have the links below, you guys. June 20th, the International Mandela Effect Conference kicks off. That's going to be Saturday, the day before Father's Day. We're going to take Father's Day off, and then everyone else is going to finish up the rest of the week. So it's going to be that Saturday, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, as we went over last week, and we're so excited. Are you excited?
It's coming. Yes. Do you think every year will be I said viral. I hope it goes viral. Will be online. Does this work for everybody, or do they want it in person, where it's up close and personal, people getting together?
I think, well, before all this stuff happened with, social distancing or whatever.
Yeah.
We were planning on trying to do it in person and live streamed.
Both.
So really what we're doing now, except for each of the, everyone had to prepare their presentations so that they can be VJ'd basically during the conference. And then we can be in the chat with it and chatting and all that. So that's really cool. But it was supposed to be like in person, having several camera angles and like a live, an actual, live thing. So it was going to be international, but in Connecticut, that's where it was going to.
So maybe next year.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got to meet in person. I mean, the talks are great, don't get me wrong, but meeting people and having a chance to actually talk. So when you're sitting there and you're just listening for a long time, it just helps. I mean, you do have the chat, that people can chat in, but
yeah, because the time in between talks went nuts, didn't it? I heard live chitter chatter everywhere. Like people wanted to get together and talk.
Yep, and I could hardly get any footage because it was just so loud. I'd have to get off in the corner, and it was still loud, because everybody's having a blast and the energy is super high.
Gave it great atmosphere.
Yeah, and then it's hard to get everyone settled down to, get things started again after a short intermission, you know what I mean? So,
well, mine's all science this time, and if I ever get to come back, I hope in the future, but I know we got to make room for everybody to get in there and present. So for me, doing it pre-recorded was a gift because I got to write down more notes.
Yeah.
But I had to use over 80 illustrations. I don't think if I was talking live, I would click through 80. I might click through 40 and talk about each illustration as it came up off the top of my head. But when you're talking science, it's so nice to also have notes because there's years and distances and a lot of numbers involved in the science to make it.
A lot of different sources that.
Oh, loads of sources.
Journals.
But I wrote the sources down for the blog, which is on IMEC.world. But I didn't write down the sources for my talk because they're all in our book. So this is a nice chance to show this beautiful cover that Shane made. I show this at the end and I say, this is where I took the information from. So that's great. See? And all the 4 wonderful authors.
There we are.
Yay. And I gave Vanessa VA credit for her illustration because she made it up, but you drew it out. You made a beautiful illustration. But I just knew you wouldn't mind if I said taken from Vanessa VA's section. because
Oh
it
yeah.
came from her mind, but you artistically created it. And there wasn't room to put both names on there. Those little slides are little.
Well, the illustrator always comes second after the author of the
Oh,
information. So,
well, I gave you credit today.
yeah, that's right.
So anyway, oh, it's on the serious side, and then we'll jump off of it. I did put up a link in my community pages to a viral. That's a bad word now, isn't it? After the CV, a viral YouTube video from Journeyman Pictures. I think 775,000 have seen it to date, and other people are putting it up. And it is recorded phone footage from a nurse in New York in the most populated hospital with
Hmm.
CV, showing people what really happened. So all I can say, it's not my video, but while it's up, I think I sent it to you. I'm sure I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. I hope.
If not, I'll double check because I usually send you the really good ones, and you
Oh,
always send me
actually,
the really good ones.
right. I don't. Maybe you did.
It's worth watching because it is your eyes as in the room, seeing what's actually really going on.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it's absolutely shocking with a capital S and a capital H. Shocking.
Have you heard the nurse talking about how it was even hard for her to go into work and she was just in
She's
tears
crying
because
through this.
it's like everyone is
It's
just
important to see,
negligence was
though.
killing people. It was a
Yes.
lot of
She
negligence. Is
felt on
that
purpose, though. She goes on purpose just to get the numbers up to get the money in. She said like drug addicts would come in and they didn't have CV and they would be marked CV and then they'd be ventilated and they die. Everybody put on a ventilator up to 90% died. You can't live on a ventilator because they put you into a coma with drugs that makes everything stop so the machine breathes for you. People who had strokes would come in, tested negative twice for CV, put down as a COVID patient, ventilated, killed. And one was as young as 37, and the nurses were yelling and arguing with the doctors, going, "We're going to resuscitate them." And the doctors explained, "Well, no, we're not, because this is an emergency. It's got CV involved. We're not going to resuscitate." And then the nurses said, "Show us the do not DNR orders. Show us where the family said, 37-year-old man, do not resuscitate." No, we don't need to involve the families on whether we resuscitate their relatives anymore. It's all on film. It's all on a phone. This is real footage. And I know we have to keep our vibrations up, but we got to know what's going on in the world that we need to fix. And we can transmute that with prayers and meditations and ho'oponopono. We can look at the dark side and send light to it. And, just a little bit of light can, in a dark room, can light up the whole room. Just a match in a dark room removes the darkness. So that's where I'm coming from. Get your meditation, your prayer, your ho'oponopono, your breathing set, know what's going on, and just send it all the power you've got to transform it. Right?
and yeah, and thank everybody that's here now and everybody that participated in our whistleblowing
Meditation.
intention. I mean, who knows? It might have gave her the extra little drive to put it out there or for someone to share it.
Such a brave
And
nurse.
there's
She's
so
from
many,
Florida.
yeah, there's so many like that too. That's putting
So
stuff
many
out.
brave
Yeah.
nurses and doctors coming out now. This is the first one that shows the video of everything. All the other ones were telling us what was happening. We're like, oh, okay. All right,
Yeah.
now you get to see it for yourself.
Right. And there's
And this could
probably
change
more.
the world.
Yeah.
Seeing, when you get like millions of people to see something and they emotionally react to it and say, I do not consent, not in my world, not on my shift, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Boom. That is actually changing the matrix that we share. And now
Yeah.
you've got millions of people saying, not on my shift. I say that all the time in videos that I disagree with that could lower my vibe. I go, nope, not on my shift. Because I got tired of writing, I do not consent. I do not consent. I do not consent. I like, okay, not on my shift. I'm here. I'm alive now. This is not happening while I'm here. How powerful is that?
Oh yeah.
Right?
And that's the whole reason you got to bring it into the light. Like we were talking, last year about pulling the fridge out and all the junk's there. It's horrible, but you got to face
Get
that to get
under
to
it.
the, yeah.
Sweep it. Sweep it. So
Exactly.
that's all I wanted to bring up tonight. And I hope you really brave, strong, powerful love light workers will go see the video and boom, hit it with all
So it's on
your.
your community tab?
It's on my community tab. It's the last one. And for some strange reason, it's not being taken down by YouTube or Facebook. I think because everything in it is true. It's like when you say something is true, boom, they pull it down. When you show that it's true with a video, they're like, oh my God, what do we do? Do we pull it down or not? That's live footage of real people doing real things.
Right.
I don't know.
So I had a super scary experience last Saturday night. Had to call the ambulance for my 15-year-old daughter who had this horrible abdominal pain, and it was bad enough that I didn't even attempt to drive her. I was like, just call the ambulance. Something's really wrong. And she had been complaining about, waking up with stomach pains and stuff. So anyway, it ended up being her gallbladder had to be removed, and so, but yeah, there was just a moment of me following the ambulance there, and you just never know what life's
I'm
going to dish
telling
out at
you,
you.
mine's gone. I am sympathizing with your 15-year-old daughter. That is excruciatingly painful. They
Yeah,
say kidney stones and gallbladder stones are more painful than labor. And you know how women scream in all those movies? I don't
yeah.
know. They gave me a C-section, so I didn't go through that. But what your daughter went through is supposedly worse than labor. So you can tell her when she's actually, if she has a baby, hey, you already had a gallbladder out, which was worse. So this will be a piece of cake, you know?
Oh, I just felt so bad for her. I could tell she was in a lot of pain because she was kind of doing her hands like almost going into shock. Like if you just eat something that's horribly hot and you're just like just trying to make it go away, but more of a deep down pain. So
I
I
don't
was
know
like,
what's going on
just
with
call the
gallbladders,
ambulance.
but it has
Yeah.
something to do with ascension symptoms because I know so many women who have their gallbladder out. So many.
Really? Yep.
Couple of
And it was.
men.
They said it was stones and slush or something, but they
Yeah.
removed that, and in fact, it was last Saturday they got junk food basically and ate, and they said that's what it is when your body goes to process the fat, it
In fact, yeah.
contracts on those stones, and then they're poking those nerves or something, so it's like super painful.
It's
Wow.
tied to the liver. It's attached to the liver. So it's
Yeah.
very painful. And mine, I was, had it done in England about 18 months after my daughter was born. With women, it usually happens. It can happen after a pregnancy. It seems to make it worse,
Hmm.
or it doesn't have to, obviously. And they said they stopped counting after 40 stones. My surgeon, who wasn't very young, said he'd never seen so many stones in one little gallbladder in his life. So I walked around with it till I was, because I had her at 39. So I was about 40, 41. Mine was packed. And it's like the gallbladder can't really handle the Western diet,
Is that what it is?
I
Yeah, I'm looking
guess.
here. April says that her
Hey,
daughter
April.
just had hers removed. It was horrible. Um,
See, so many
Gallbladders
women.
are getting taken out. Kate Wright, let's see.
Hey,
It's
Kate,
awful,
like
especially when you don't
appendixes,
know what
right?
it is. Scary. She was 23.
Like
Yeah.
appendixes coming out with
Yeah.
boys. More boys lose their appendixes
Yeah,
with
I
a
got mine.
huge pain. You got yours out?
Yeah.
I think it's ascension symptoms. I'm not being silly, like, oh, I have a
Well, I
headache. I
was
have
like
ascension
19
symptoms.
when I got mine out.
I think our bodies are changing and our bodies are adapting. And they're just saying, nope, gallbladder doesn't work anymore. Appendix doesn't work anymore. Also, all the women I know, practically every single one of them has hypothyroidism. And I guess they've tied that to the fluoride in the water pretty much. And since all the water's fluoridated all over the world, practically, not in developing countries, it's like, it's weird. People in developing countries have more poverty, but they probably have more health because they don't have genetically modified foods. They don't have all the sugar from the Western diet. They don't have their water fluoridated.
Hmm.
They probably don't get 64 vaccines by the age of 18, which is the US schedule. It's only like 34 or 35 in the UK. It's about half.
So then on top of that, she was supposed to get out on Tuesday, and you look frozen. Are you still there?
But you look frozen to me.
Oh, there we go. You're back now.
Yay.
Okay, so
Darn.
I was saying, okay, so she was supposed to get out on Tuesday, so that's why I went ahead and canceled the show with Michelle, and it was later in the day, afternoon on Tuesday, but my daughter from home called me up and said, why is it 81 in the house, and so I go home and the air conditioner had broke. It was like 95 degrees outside and her air conditioner broke, and she's supposed to come home from the hospital on morphine, which already makes you feel hot and uncomfortable. So I called the landlord up. He was going to have somebody up the next day, and he had his guy bring out window unit. And so we got, we had the 2 window units to at least get it comfortable. And then we had this cold front moving. It was so wild.
Oh,
It was like
wow.
94 degrees when my daughter brought it to my attention. And I went home. I was like squirting out the air conditioner, thinking maybe the fuzzy stuff that's been flying around clogged it or something, and I'm all squirting it out, and then I hear it buzzing, so I could hear something's wrong with it. So anyway, I called and reported, and he had the guy come out, and he fixed it really quick. But yeah, it was, and
When it
then the
rains, of
dryer,
course, right?
the dryer messed up the next day. But yeah, it dropped 30 degrees.
That's like things come in threes. And maybe you brought in the cold front because you were so concerned about your daughter being comfortable. You brought a cold front in.
It was crazy. It was like I couldn't believe it. Like the next morning, it was like 57 degrees, and I'm like, how did it go from 93 to 57 overnight?
That is the
Cooled the house
power of
off.
intention.
That's great, isn't it?
I do have a new theory though, but you know all my theories, guys, and I'm not like married to them, so they could change. Like I never consider my theories fact, just possibilities. I think that those of us who open up to what we're experiencing now and practice participating with it. Like we're not just viewing the Mandela effect, we're participating with it. We're not just viewing spaceships, we're participating with it. I think we become matrix managers. How's that for a pat on the back? I think all of us who participate with the anomalies become like mini avatars to manage the matrix.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And someone, I can't think of her name right now, but she was explaining how it's more like when people are, it's like your level of consciousness as you wake up. We use the term waking up, and we're constantly waking up more and more, right? But it's like for the masses, they're just doing what they're doing, but they're not really awake. They're sort of sleepwalking. Sleepwalkers, that's what my higher self calls
That's
it.
a
I was
nice thing.
laughing. Sleepwalkers.
Sleepwalkers. I'm calling them normies now. That's kind of cute
Right.
too. So what
Well,
about them?
so, okay, so I just kind of wanted to insert this in here because we hear the talk about NPCs or whatever all the time. But basically, it really doesn't matter if there is or not. It's because the unconscious person is like an NPC. And we're NPCs to other people. We're background people to other people's
Hmm.
stories. You know what I
So
mean?
true.
Maybe they have an accident and we're driving by. We're the background
We're the
people of those
background
people's
people.
story. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the level of consciousness really kind of directs how much of a key player you are. It's like the more awake you are, the more you're sort of taking an active role in creating the reality.
Yes.
Actually, you know, and
And now
and we do that collectively.
we're
You know,
doing that collectively on purpose. So now we're becoming matrix managers, whether we
right,
want to or not. You brought in the cold front. It was important to you that your daughter not suffer heat on morphine and pain from
right.
having the gallbladder removed.
Hmm.
So I'm crediting you for that cold front, and you got it.
That's cool. And then we didn't
Yeah.
want them to stay another day at the hospital, although the air would have been better. The next day was my wife's birthday, so
Oh,
she wanted
see,
she wanted to come home, and and it
a
just
lot
all
of things
worked
happen
out.
in threes. They do for me too. They don't have to. So if one thing bad happens, don't expect the other two. Make them something like, oh, I lost my car keys, something little and
Right.
annoying, you know? But I also have been reading about creative consciousness. Remember we were talking about brain waves and the brain waves
Hmm.
change.
Yeah.
And where does a musician get the song? You're a songwriter, I'm a songwriter. I say I pull it from the ethers. In other words, my consciousness opens up and allows other information to come through so I can write a song and paint a picture. People paint pictures, write books where they're inventing worlds and characters.
And it seems like it happens right here. It doesn't seem like it happens out there. Before you really wake up to realizing that you are tapping into something. So in my younger years, I thought I'm just making stuff up off the top of my head.
But you're just like channeling,
Yeah.
channeling something somewhere. Some people say, oh, it's coming from my higher self. Oh, it's coming from God. And some people say, no, it's coming from the collective consciousness that goes around the earth.
Yeah.
So I don't care where it comes from, angels, God, collective consciousness, my higher self. It's kind of a process of channeling. And yes, people who are awake and experiencing the Mandela effect and contact and all those kind of things, cool things that I heard Cynthia say yesterday on your show with her, that
Mm-hmm.
it kind of involves all kinds of interesting things, not just the Mandela effect.
Right.
We're expanding our minds regularly, daily, to heal. All you healers out there, all you Reiki masters, and energetic healers, we're expanding our consciousness on a regular basis. So why wouldn't we see the Mandela effect, and why wouldn't we become matrix managers? Because we're exercising that consciousness muscle. It's going
Yeah.
in and out, in and out. And the normies, your sleepwalkers, they're not exercising their consciousness. They're
Right.
focusing on lunch and the traffic and their bank balance and the date that's coming up Friday night, whatever. And that's all local. It's all local. What's it called? Observation, local
Uh-huh.
observation.
Right.
They're not practicing throwing their consciousness out of the local into the what? Non-local.
Mm-hmm.
I call it cosmic, but I think quantum physicists call it non-local.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, so, and it's like, I believe some people when they come here, they do just come here for a vacation. Like, yeah, I just want to have a job, a regular life. I don't want to get into the
Nice
metaphysical
family,
stuff or
a little
nothing. I
bit of
just
travel,
just want to play Sims.
nice little house.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, but I sure didn't come here for that, because I've been
No.
jumping off into the deep end constantly. If there's a pool with a deep end of consciousness, I just like, boom, I'm going in there. I just want to see what's at the bottom, you know?
Well, it sure does make it a lot easier to let go of other people, particularly the people really close to you, because we have this tendency to feel like it's our responsibility. It's like, who's going to save them? It's like they don't have
Who's
anybody
gonna wake
awake in
them
their
up?
life.
Oh my
Like they don't
God.
have they don't have anybody, but we're forgetting about their whole higher team that knows much more about what they came here to accomplish, what they need to accomplish that. And you will help them in whatever way you need unknowingly, really. You don't have to figure it out. And I think that's one of the liberating things about knowing somebody has their whole entourage of higher help that's really just completely guiding them,
Yep.
protecting them, keeping them on track, comforting them when they need it, and they're doing all of that. You know what I mean? And
So
it's
you
like,
get relieved of the job.
right, you almost feel like I can't believe I'm butting in. You know, and the
Yeah,
funny thing is, once I kind of got to that point where it's easy for me to let go of people, it's easier for me to hear stuff that comes to me for people. Do you know what I mean? Because now it's not sort of coming from a place of,
that's
you
interesting.
know,
With the BQH or through your meditation?
just people that have come on my mind just during like meditation, and I'm like, you know what, I don't normally do this, but let me send this to you. This has happened a few times with people, and it worked out. It's worked out every time. But
That's so cool.
it's kind of going outside of my comfort zone, because I always feel like, let people be, they're where they need to be, and unless they reach out to you, you know what I mean, just
Well, that's the influence you've had on my life. You've calmed me down from the I'm kind of I'm kind of an Archangel Michael Metatron love peace light crusader, like a peace warrior. So
hmm
darn it, I'm going to save the whole world. I'm not going to let anybody not wake up. They're going to miss this great opportunity for ascension. And now I'm like, heck, no, that's not your job. How arrogant of you to think, Eileen, that that was your job, to wake people up.
but
So
you don't look at it as being arrogant when it's happening.
no, you
You
think
look at
you're
it as being
helping people.
helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm being helpful.
I'm being helpful. And darn it, they're not going to not ascend if I have anything to say about it.
Right. But it's still done out of love, which is like one of the
Yeah.
reasons I've been able to have people approach me, and even if it's something that would have normally triggered me, it's like, oh, they're coming, they took the time to tell me I'm wrong. I mean, I am in their mind, and that's fine, but they did
Yeah,
it out of love.
totally
So,
wrong. I'm like, I got so triggered during the CV stuff, you guys. I'm lucky that I have you guys out there to kind of untrigger me,
oh, yeah.
because I don't know why. It just really upset me that nobody could see some of the truth spilling through
Yeah.
during it. Like, how bad is it to put masks on babies and teach them that the world is dangerous, the air is dangerous, and for God's sakes, don't get near another person? What message is that to humanity? You
Was that
know,
you that sent me the video of the mom that was ignoring, just still the still face experiment. It was
Yeah.
awful. God.
Yeah. When they can't see your expression, the babies start to scream because they're like, they get scared. Like, I can't read her.
Yeah, even just being expressionless, it was bad. But
Yeah.
putting a
That's all she
mask
did was
on,
just stop interacting and
dude, it
smiling.
was so heartbreaking. 2 minutes, God, that seems so long.
The
And you
kid
could
was
tell it
screaming.
was heartbreaking for her too.
Yeah. So,
She couldn't
what
wait
is
to come to
this
her
about
rescue.
masks? Go ahead and breathe in those viruses and bacteria and germs. Do you remember when they used to say anti-bac soap is bad for you? Get your fingers in some mud, let your kids eat some dirt. Well, now it's like wear gloves and a mask and don't let your kids touch dirt,
Why
bacteria.
is that? It's almost like, because I've heard, of course, comedians talk about your immune system needs practice. And when I think of it the way we were taught, that sounds kind of silly, that like it can be out of practice if you stay in your home. But, one thing's for sure, when my kids come back from a break or something, they go back to school from a break, they
They get
almost always get sick. Almost always. Why is it that they get sick when they go around other people, but then like later in the year, it's not so bad?
I
It's
don't know.
almost like those initial being around people vaccinations,
Immunity community. I keep hearing immunity community. Like
Right, yeah.
our little bugs help each other out. We teach our immune systems how to handle
Yeah.
the matrix, the physical matrix. So, yeah, I have a lot of problems with this, and that sounds negative, and I get triggered. And you guys just make me feel more peaceful, and I can be untriggered because you're not freaking out. So, why should I freak out, right? Humanity's going to figure this out. It's not going to grow up masking all the children and babies for the next 100 years. That's not going to happen.
Right.
No. And if
I
it
know.
does, we'll jump to another version of Earth and humanity where it doesn't happen, right?
Right. If I had anything to do with this, there's some lines I just won't cross. You know what I mean? So I just know I wouldn't have agreed to even come here if it's going to go a certain direction. You know what I mean? So I guess that's easy for me because I'm viewing it as if I had a choice. But if somebody thinks we just kind of just randomly popped on the scene and everything's random and
I don't feel it's
accidental,
random. I feel like we're matrix managers and we've pushed the ruling elite into doing some really crazy things to wake more people up, to push it along so it happens faster. Like, if you keep everybody comfortable and you don't get too extreme, how long is the sleeping going to last? Because everybody's comfortable. If you shake them up and you get extreme and now they're not comfortable, yeah, they're going to wake up. So maybe we just speeded up the whole process
right?
because we were getting bored and going, come on, this is taking too long.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah, definitely.
the
And
bad
it's
stuff
it's
is good.
and it's better and more gentle than what I imagined because I imagined tsunamis and earthquakes and sinkholes, and I imagine the Earth actually going through a lot of, which it is. It
A
is
little bit,
still.
yeah. That's in my
But
cosmic Mandela effect talk for IMEC.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not to the point where everybody's just running crazy in the streets. Maybe some localized areas if there's an earthquake or something like that. But you can totally imagine things getting way worse than it is. And I imagine things might get like that if there's a pole shift and stuff. I've
Well,
worried about things getting bad, but
there's good people, they're truthers, telling the truth, and they're programming people for food shortages. And I'm like, stop that. Stop programming people to expect food shortages. Expect plenty of food. Maybe if it's rice and beans and it's not beef and chicken, so what? Enjoy it. Enjoy your rice and beans. Get some flavor in there. I'm a terrible cook. I wouldn't know how to flavor rice and beans if my life depended on it. So if we
I
get
just
down to that, you guys are going to have to send me recipes. Tell me what to put on.
a little salt. That's about all you're gonna
I
get
do
from
salt
me.
and pepper. You're salt. Yeah, well, you're the oatmeal man in the microwave. I remember from like 3 years ago, you went to make some oatmeal, and we're like expecting you to come back with a pot. Ding,
That
ding.
was embarrassing. Jose totally busted me because she's like, "Oh, you're making that's not cooking," and I was like, "Oh God."
It is for me.
She's saying putting a pot on the stove and making oatmeal isn't cooking, and that's not what I did. I put an instant pack into a bowl with
And
water
stuck
and
it in the
microwaved
microwave. And you
it.
call that cooking. I need to go cook my oatmeal. I'm a terrible cook. I can do eggs, kinda, and I can do pasta. Pasta's easy. As long as all the sauces are jarred. Heck, you just have to boil some water, cook the pasta, open the jar, heat it up. Presto.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Let's see. The third trumpet, 1/3 of the water will turn. April. April.
Yeah, April, we're getting red
I'm just teasing.
tides.
Yeah, I did see
She said
that.
red and blood. We get red tides like the size of, I don't know what, like Manhattan in the Gulf, because the Gulf is warm and it's getting warmer, the water. And they like this grass called St. Augustine that is not natural to the environment. So they have to put a lot of organosulfate.
Oh, and
Or
it's making the water red?
yeah, they put these pesticides on it to grow it, and then that all goes into Lake Okeechobee, and then they drain Lake Okeechobee during the floods to the Gulf, which creates all the red tide, which kills all the fish and dolphins and turtles and manatees. So
So it would look like if you got a vision of that and you're writing it down, it would totally look like blood if you're seeing
totally,
dead animals and stuff in there.
totally.
Okay, so the third trumpet, 1/3 of the water will turn to blood. The last 2 weeks, water turning red as blood made the news 2 different locations.
We get it every year now for the last 2 or 3 years. And I've heard locusts are out.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And
Yeah.
some kind of killer bees or something.
Oh,
Hornets.
murder
Murder
wasps.
hornets.
Murder hornets. Who the heck named that? And you look at a picture of it, it looks like it's going to murder you for sure.
Right.
I
Yeah, I
would
think my
run
wife showed
if
me
I
a
saw one of
Facebook
those.
post. My wife showed me a Facebook post, and I was like, I just laughed because it's like, what if they like purposely make these things sound like the scariest thing ever? You know
Well,
what I
what could
mean?
be worse than a
Murder
murder
hornets.
hornet? It's out to murder you. I mean, come on, there's nothing worse than that.
Goodness.
I know. I have to report our bugs are gone. So our geckos are gone and our bunny rabbits are gone. Now, I live on the outskirts of town in between cities. Well, actually, there's one city 45 minutes away from me. And then it's just Everglades National Park. And I'm on the outskirts of a town. So I know that we got 5G turned on our coast from October to January. So did the West Coast. So did the East Coast, which also matches the coronavirus map. But I just didn't say that. That didn't come out of my mouth. And I even said the word oops, but I said it fast. So maybe the bots didn't catch it. And now they're turning on the 5G. And I'm not saying that there's a real definite correlation. I'm just saying it's a coincidence. Okay. These things are coincidences or not. And they're turning on the interior of the country from March through June. Okay. So wherever they've turned it on, the bugs are gone. I think there's still bugs out there, but I think they're outside of the houses and the streets and the restaurants and the shops, which are all shooting out this 60 gigahertz of 5G now. They've all moved out, and I think they're still alive because it looks like they're dead and gone, and all our bugs have gone. I'm like, whoa, where's our bugs? Because you'll be walking outside the door at night, and there'll be a lamp and not a single bug around it. And I mean,
What about the buggy, noisy sounds of it? 'Cause
gone. Driving
what?
driving our cars at night. We no longer have to use the squidgies at the gas stations to remove bugs from the screen and the headlights. All the bugs are gone. And I think that's because I don't get out to the wild. I think they are in the wild where I'm not. Because there's alligators in the wild, mosquitoes that will carry you off, massive snakes out there, bear,
Well,
panther.
when I was a kid, I went down to like the Science Center in St. Louis when I lived there, and they actually had this picture of like an aerial view of downtown St. Louis with the arch and everything, and they had like a creation of what it would look like if there were no bugs.
Hmm.
And they had all this. There was all this stuff growing up the arch and up the sides of the buildings and all over everything. And they were saying that the
My door
bugs.
is covered with mold. Is that why?
I don't
Is
know.
it because there's no bugs to eat it?
Is that what's going on? So that's what they. So I remember that as a child. You know what I mean? And thinking, wow,
I
bugs
never
are
thought that.
important. You know.
But I'm going to call them and say, hey, wash my front door. It's getting too moldy,
Right.
right? But I think the bugs are there further away from my view.
But
I
you're
don't think they're
still
dead.
out in a pretty rural area, aren't you? Like when.
I'm on the edge of a town. And if you drive 5 or 10 minutes further out, you're in the sticks.
Well, it looks like when you go out, like that footage that you had of that craft, that it looked like there was quite a bit of just land. You know, not it wasn't like
Edge.
congested. You know, at all. I mean, there should have been plenty of bugs. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, well, I've
Should be
lived here
noisy
for
at night.
years and I'm used to my bugs because I love geckos. And the geckos come at night. Actually, they're chameleons because they look like geckos, but they're fatter and they change the color of the paint. So I love the geckos. And when they come in, we catch them and put them out so they don't like dehydrate in here. I know what the bugs are supposed to be. And this year, I have no bugs, no bunny rabbits, and very few geckos. So I'm thinking they've moved out further where there's no 5G 60 gigahertz buzzing around because that changes oxygen molecules. And it can't be good for a bug if the oxygen molecules are changing. So maybe it's killed all the bugs in the vicinity and they're still living out there in the wild where I'm not going. I mean, I'd go for a visit on a boat, but I wouldn't like walk in it.
So with these masks, if you feel out of breath, it's probably the mask and not any kind of towers they put up, right?
Well, this is why it's good for us to live in the country, guys. Try to get away from concentrated areas because then your 5G will be much less bothersome because you won't have so many buildings and so many Wi-Fi units and phones and cell towers. It's like the more country you can get, the healthier the air will be, for sure. And you'll have bugs and bunny rabbits and geckos and all that good stuff. But I've lost it. And for the first time, I lived here since 2012. I was actually in the Clearwater area for 2 years. So I've been here 8 years. A big brown or black bear, because we don't have grizzlies, walked into our apartment complex for the first time in 8 years. I've had baby gators in my little man-made lakes. They get through the storm sewage drainage, when the lakes go over, they come through those tunnels. So at least they're baby gators and they're protected until they're 5 or 6 feet long. And then they can be caught and taken away. And then they eat all my ducks. And that upsets me because I like the ducks. I feed the ducks. So we had a big brown bear walk into our complex, which is not a good idea because we have a lot of wooded area right in our complex of where there's apartments. And I like to go out and walk the dogs at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I have a 7-pound Yorkie and a 15-pound Pomapoo. Those would just be little snacks for a bear. Snacks on a string.
Gosh.
So I really can't do that anymore, not confidently, since my family saw at midnight a nice big brown black bear walk into where we live, like feet away from our house.
Wow.
Yeah. So my midnight walks when I go look at all the stars and stuff.
So you guys have 5G towers there. What's the service like? Is it what they all?
You can't. No difference whatsoever. I'm happy on 4G. I'm still
that's because you got to go buy the new phone that can only do 5G. Probably
I'm not going to do that either. And then I asked Xfinity to turn the 5G off of my Wi-Fi. And they said it really doesn't matter. It's more involving phones than Wi-Fi. So I don't know, guys. We adapt. There are children being born in Africa who are HIV immune. They are born to parents with HIV and they can't catch it.
Wow.
So, Earth and humans, we evolve. We get stronger.
I agree. Yeah, I always leave it up to nature. If it takes me out, then it was my time. Right?
Yeah, I'm like the same way. And then
grounding is good. Yeah.
Did we say it? Did we say last week that doctors are saying that people with O, either positive or negative, do not catch the CV? Did I mention that last week?
No. That's interesting.
I'm O positive. I used to be O negative. I'm O positive now, and so is my daughter. So we're not in the CV blood group. And do you remember when you did my BQH? And I told you beforehand, I never knew why my family is, for 3 generations, having contact.
Mm-hmm.
And I expect it's biological, that they're keeping track of things. Right. During the BQH, I said it's because of the blood, didn't I? I said they're tracking the bloodlines here to see which ones are the most adaptable to things that just crop up on Earth.
Right.
Remember that in the BQH?
I can't remember exactly,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I learned something new, Shane, because I didn't know it was about the blood and the bloodlines.
Right.
And not about the Anunnaki or royal bloodlines. It was about,
Right, but actually practical.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know, nations
practical.
that survive like an ice age or a drought or a virus or a technology, you know?
Seems to me if they really wanted to do the smart thing, they would appreciate the people that were willing to go without getting vaxxed. You know what I mean? Because don't you want a control group that hasn't? What if they really mess something up?
But it's about control. It's about the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Gates Foundation Biometric Inc. That's what it's about. It's about getting it in every human being on the planet because that biometric ink will contain all your information, who you are, your genetic code, what vaccines you've had. It's just about control. It's just
There
about
is no way I would
tracking
do anything.
humans.
I'm just going on the record right now. I don't care what I lose for not doing that.
I
I'll
just
drive.
heard last night that Colorado supposedly this I don't think liberal is the right word. This free state where everybody can smoke pot and get high and nobody's in trouble, just removed religious exemptions from vaccines. Just quietly did it. And a bunch of states did. Like New York did it last fall, and now they just listed a whole bunch of states that have just quietly done it in the last week.
To try to make it mandatory for vaccines?
Yeah, you can no longer say on religious grounds I can't be vaccinated. They just removed the religious. Because we can all go in and say, hey, on religious reasons, I'm not having it. So I would say everybody take it to the Supreme Court because the last Supreme Court ruling on vaccines was in 1905. And this man did not want to get a smallpox shot on the East Coast. And they fined him $5 for not getting the shot. And the Supreme Court ruled you can fine that person, but you cannot make them take the shot. So that's the last court challenge. And we just need to get it all back in front of the Supreme Court and hope the Supreme Court will like favor human rights to say, no, that's my blood. It's not your blood. It's my blood. I decide what goes in my blood.
Right. And you don't have to have a religious reason. You don't have to have any reason at all. It's just your choice, right?
Yeah,
It's your body.
we hope, right? Oh, and then of course, I'm not political, right? You guys aren't political, but the Hillary trial is going on and all these protests and CV and is Antifa a terrorist group or not? And it's like masking the big questions now. Like, should we have a right to turn down a vaccine? That's much more important than all this big anarchy and chaos that's out there.
Is that still going on? Because I haven't checked in on it at all.
Very little, but it is. It's being targeted like in certain places. And I won't mention one because there's one that's being targeted tomorrow. And if I mention it, it'll just get more targeted, but it has to do with the Republican Party. So I'm like, I'm not going to spread that. So it's all, yeah.
Interesting.
I
think Trump's coming to town next week.
Do we have any billionaires listening to us who can donate a big island for us all to move to?
That would be cool.
Like off the coast of Scotland or something, or in the Caribbean where we can have some sun. We can all just move there and commune, the UTOF commune.
That'd be cool. Get something by the water.
Oh, a lady got in touch with me and we're chit-chatting by email, and she's living off the grid in Australia, and she sent me photos, and it is heaven. It is beautiful. And I'm like, this is so cool. I'm so happy for you.
Right.
Living in a beautiful cabin with vegetables and fruits and flowers around the cabin, and the water is their source, and somehow they clean it, and the sun is their heat. And I'm like, I'm just so happy for you that you can do that. And thanks for sharing with me, so that I sometimes feel like if I experience it, what's it called? Like you don't really experience it, you just experience it in your mind. Sometimes I feel like that's real. And like now I can feel like I've experienced it, even though I haven't. She shared with me all those experiences and they felt real.
Oh, like vicariously.
Vicariously. That's the word.
Exactly.
So
the law of one actually talked about doing that. It was saying that you can meditate on choices that you wouldn't want to take, but you could learn from it by considering it,
Vicariously.
right?
So I got a little bit of off-grid living in my mind and heart and eyes just by her sharing her stories, long stories, and pictures.
So cool.
Yeah. I could definitely off-grid, guys. I would love it in a beautiful place. It'd be hard, though, not easy, but
It would be hard to adjust at first. It sure would. But if you had a big enough group and there's people that knew how to garden and do that and cook and do this and that, you know what I mean? And everybody could help
that's
out.
why a UOTF commune is just like perfect. And commune sounds terrible. UOTF off-grid society.
Let's see. We need to call it paradise.
Paradise. We need somebody extremely
Ashram, right?
rich to donate the land. You're not allowed to just go out in the wild and go live off the land like in a national park. You need somebody to donate the land so that we can go do that.
Yeah,
And I'm in.
cool.
I'm in. Why don't we just manifest a billionaire to give UOTF people a big chunk of land somewhere so we can go?
That'd be cool. We could even cycle people in and out of it if people wanted to kind of keep their regular life going and just cycle throughout the year, like a kind of like, what do they call those?
Part-time off-gridders?
Timeshare
Timeshare.
things.
Off-grid timeshare.
But it would really be like, it'd be cool.
We'd have to have a political council like the old tribes did, where the wise ones got together to make group decisions, and then you cycled people in and out of that council. So everybody gets a chance on it. We'd have to keep it really clean politically.
Right.
Right?
We even come up with a new word other than politics.
Or council. Yeah. And I would totally not cook for you guys. I'm sorry. I will do anything but cook because you don't want to eat my food. Or Shane's, for that matter.
No, I don't know. If there's a microwave there, I could probably make a killer oatmeal.
You could. With cinnamon and sugar, right? All mixed in.
Yeah, ready to go. I didn't even have to add anything. That's awesome.
Oh my God. But we can sing and we can play guitar.
Yeah. I can do all sorts of construction stuff too.
I did nursery schools. I took care of children.
Yeah. Art.
For decades. Little schools. Little organic schools.
Definitely don't want me cooking. That's for
No,
sure.
you don't want me cooking or gardening. Oh my God. I can only grow a cactus because I always forget to water it. And it loves that. It's like, I don't like water. So my aloe vera is always big. And
yay, Jody a cook.
Yay, Jody.
Round table discussions. I like that.
Round table discussions. And votes on should we have electricity or should we have candles? Maybe we could cycle everybody through on the job. So for a month you have to clean the latrines, but then the next month you get to garden. And then the next month you get to bake or build houses. I love those tiny houses. Some of those tiny houses are so cute.
Oh yeah, yurts or whatever they're called.
Yeah, we could have yurts and we could have solar panels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is everybody kind of feeling this UOTF? What's it called?
Windmill? We could have a windmill.
What is it? It's not a UOTF paradise.
What do they call? Not a resort, but a retreat. Is a retreat a good word?
I'm just living there, just so you guys know. I'll never
living the retreat life,
Yeah.
That's cool.
I know.
That'd be awesome.
And of course you get to bring your family and your kids and your dogs and your cats and your rabbits and your hamsters. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah. That's funny because Michelle and I were talking about that. Well, we didn't do this last week, but the week before we were talking about that and how cool it would be to have an area where we're just doing art together and the kids can come in and join if they want.
Okay, so then maybe we, and this is getting kind of crazy, but maybe we should have like the UOTF lottery where everybody kicks in $1. And if that's like 400 lottery tickets and we win 400 million, we could actually go buy that land and then try to scrape together an off-grid life and really just make it happen.
That'd be cool.
I mean, would Providence shine on us? Probably. If you got 400
that's where we're supposed to go. Yeah.
And you see our meditations would change from earth healing to lottery numbers every Saturday night. I don't know.
That's funny. That's
Check out
like
Ubuntu. Check out Ubuntu. That is Michael Tellinger's groups that are off-gridding as communities in South Africa, Italy, and then they bought some land in Vermont, but they never opened it up.
isn't that where everyone just does what they can, and it's
Yeah,
more
you have to
like
do
you're
five
bartering your
hours a
work?
week. But the only bad thing is it's a moneyless community. So if you live in there, eventually you can't travel because you have no money. Eventually you're interdependent on each other. Doctors, food, houses, schools, clothes. And if you
They
live there
should.
long enough, there's no money. How are you going to go buy a plane ticket to go see your kid when they're having a kid? You know what I mean? You'd be kind of stuck into that moneyless society eventually if your money ran out.
Seems like the office would have it to where you could trade in your goods or services or something for some
That's a
money.
good point. Or a pilot. Who says the community doesn't have pilots with planes living there who will just drop, fly you somewhere?
Yeah, it is sort of like getting over that hump, isn't it? To where it just all works together because it would be difficult at first. And anything's like that. You know, that whole bell curve of getting over the most difficult part, and then it sort of becomes easier as things are, sort of networked together or whatever. Yeah.
Maybe that's our future. Small communities living interdependently, small, not global, taking care of each other, supplying each other's needs locally.
Hmm.
And why wouldn't we be able to create one of the first experimental versions, right?
There's a few like that. Maybe we should just do some investigating and talk to some, interview some people here on the show and ask them what it's like because I know there's a few like that.
Yeah, let's do that. And
Hey, Candace, welcome.
hi, Candace. Any billionaires out there want to like donate the land? We'll do the experiment. We'll put UOTF Paradise together. It'll be a good experiment and a good model for other communities to follow.
Yeah, it'd be cool if we can get a network to come out and record it or something.
Yeah.
And we can slip in some Mandela effects for the people.
Oh my God, should we do a source crowd thing for it? Because like people will source crowd for anything. So can
All
we do
right.
a experimental UOTF Paradise on Earth?
That'd be cool. Maybe we can get a panel of people in our community that can start. I think, when you do those crowdfunding things like Kickstart and stuff like that, you
Yeah.
have to sort of have, I don't know, prizes for them at certain levels, maybe a plaque that they go on the grounds, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we just need to know
Founding
how much
members.
money we need to buy how much land.
Yeah.
Because once the land is bought, it's up to us to do the creating, the building, the sourcing. You know what I mean? By
Yeah.
bringing our physical bodies to do the work, our minds to do the work, our hearts, our
Yeah.
souls. I could get Reiki from Jody.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother had a nice piece of land. It was like 27 acres and it had a natural spring on it. So
Oh,
it was very nice feeding into this
we
little
can't go get
pond.
that land from him, huh? Have him donate it to you?
No, he ended up selling it a little bit at a time. It was in Missouri, though. Probably, I guess, an hour and a half out of St. Louis. Yeah. But yeah, that'd be cool because that's like that's away from the coast for tsunamis. It's away from the.
Earthquakes away from tornadoes?
Yeah, we've had some like not like here in Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Yeah, you're
or
in the
Kansas.
tornado alley, right?
Yeah,
I was too in Illinois growing up. I was at the end of it.
yeah, and that would be cool. Yeah, Jody's saying Reiki. Yeah, and everybody can practice their gifts. And
Yep. And maybe we can get some compensation of local government. You know how communities say, oh, we're dry, no alcohol. We'll just say, no vaccines unless we want them. Like anybody in the group who wants one, go get them, but nobody has to have them. Maybe we can have those kind of health laws where we're independent from the county or the state a little bit.
Candace is saying she can fly the plane.
Are you serious?
Well, she has a
Candace is
question
our
mark.
pilot.
Maybe she's asking if she can.
I don't know. If you can fly a plane, Candace, and we just need to get you a plane.
I think the doors will just open automatically if that's what's going to happen. We might get somebody that just donates the land.
We just have to want it. We just have to want it as a group, and then it'll happen.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
My
Be nice.
track record has been 3 to 7 years to manifest big things, like big, big things. And I think it's speeding up now. I think we can do it in less than 7 years, okay?
No social distancing on the property.
Nope. Nope. Hugs. Lots
Yeah.
of hugs.
Plenty of hugs. Everybody's going to have their hug.
Plenty of immunity in that community.
Okay, Candace is saying only the little one, but that's all we need. We can make a little runway for you. Like, here comes Candace.
That's all we need. Occasionally, we need to get out of there and see people in the world, and Candace is our pilot.
Yeah. Maybe we can include the plane in with the
BQH while we go. Can we just strap in and do our BQH while we're flying?
Oh no, definitely don't. Yeah, maybe we are. Maybe we're start creating new Earth and let it snowball into the.
You guys check out Ubuntu and Michael Tellinger. It'll give you some inspiration. And I know two women off-gridding right now in beautiful places. And
if you guys know of anybody, email us, and maybe we'll try to get somebody on and see what it's like. They can show us some.
Okay, I will email the two.
Unless they chose the candle route and not the electricity route, then. But we'll see.
My brother, he's not with us anymore. He was quite old, a lot older than me. He was an off-gridder. He was called a mountain man, though. He was one of those grizzly mountain men who would go up high into the Rockies in Colorado and live in a cabin, a hunter's cabin. So obviously the hunter owned the land and the cabin, and that was it. There was no running water, no electricity, no toilet, just my brother. And he'd go in the winter, and he would, I think it was a crossbow though, but he would like kill deer, and then he would butcher it, and he would use the ice and the snow as his refrigerator, and that would be his meat. Right. So I can't argue that if that's his source of food. It's very natural and very respectful to the animals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the problem with it like other people do, but because I feel like even plants are alive, and
yeah, it's like if you do it for a trophy and it's an elephant or a tiger, right. It's like. But if you go out to eat respectfully off the land,
kind of like they did in Avatar when he was just killing them to be safe, and then she went over and it was like it's how you do it. It's not the fact that you're doing it, and that's even what the experiments with the plants. When they thanked the plant for the nourishment it was going to provide, it was okay with being cut up and prepared for food. It was only when you were thinking about burning it or just cutting it up and not sort of thanking it and sending that loving intention and thanking it for it.
Started to scream. Did you read that? They screaming plants. If you think about hurting plants, they scream.
Isn't that crazy?
Each other. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the little needle going crazy. Yeah.
So I'm already saving all the bugs. Isn't that ironic? I'm a bug saver, and now there's no bugs around me anymore. I can have my sliding glass door open all night with no screen, and not a single bug will come in. And there's lights inside. That's crazy. But remember, I've been a bug saver for years, where if they're in my house, I catch them and release them.
Right.
Unless it's like a disease-carrying mosquito who's going to suck my blood or my dog's blood or my daughter's blood or her friend's blood, then I don't feel bad about getting rid of something that's dangerous.
Right. I sort of always feel like it's kind of a human filter to fight the natural flow of things. It's like the natural flow of things to live, to die, and other animals do that, and that they mourn. I mean, you can see that they mourn if you're looking at a monkey or a bear or something like that, right? But we sort of hang on and we draw it out and we cling to it. You know what I mean? And it can get kind of messy sometimes. You know what I mean? Just like
I think this is all there is. Then you cling to it desperately. Right. And those people who know this isn't everything, just let go.
Right, and it's so much easier, and they got a better quality at the end, rather than sort of dragging it out, and to where the quality of life, both of my parents went through the hospist thing, and it just was so bad,
Yeah, it was tough.
And my dad chose, he chose not to, he was like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, so, just.
My husband did that. He chose his way out without the long, dragged out hospice thing. And I accepted it. He told me 2 months before, and I'm like, okay. It was hard.
Yeah, but it makes it easier knowing that it's a sacrifice you're making for them, and you love them, to be able to let them go in peace. If that's really what they want. Because I was trying to get them to drink this Ultimate Living tea again because it had shrunk it, and I was like, "You just gotta drink it." Because I don't want to drink that nasty stuff anymore. Sorry, Ultimate Living. I mean, it's just he didn't like the taste of it. Other people
Yeah.
did.
See, we had the same problem with my mom. She was at the point where there kind of was no going back, but maybe there was. So how much should we force the health, nutritional stuff on her to, and I'm like, I don't know. Let her choose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people get tired. You
Yeah.
gotta let them go when they're
I
ready.
say we pick our own times anyway.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm going to intend that we get some kind of an off-grid community going as bringing New Earth, demonstrating New Earth to everybody by doing it and being it. And anybody who wants to come can come. And if you only want to come for a month or 6 months, it's like that ashram since the 1950s in the Bahamas. You can go for 3 days, you can go for a week, a month, a year, as long as you like.
So should we do it more broadly that way? Once we get that, just helping to build a New Earth community.
Yeah,
Because
we have to
eventually
get
we
more
want to
broad.
connect. We want to connect with the other areas that decide to do that, which some have already done that. And I imagine it would just sort of spread right in that same fashion, and as more and more people go off grid. So it's really community, building community.
Yeah,
It's kind of undoing the what we've lost in the community,
and
isn't
I
it?
think in terms of a real off-grid community, we've got plenty of people in our community who would build that.
And most of the people, I think,
You
in our
need
community,
20, 30.
in their regular neighborhood, they aren't because it's like,
It's just not the thing to do now. But we expected 30 people to show up at ESETI, and we got 99.
yeah,
So we're like, whoa. So there's our community.
yeah,
Those, there's nine, at least we know there's 99 people there. I don't know if they'd live there. I don't know if they want to go for
right.
any period of
But
time.
even if
But
it was something where they could cycle in and out, or we can have an event a few times a year or something, there's a lot of a potential if we do something like that.
so all we need is the land or crowdsource funding.
Yeah,
And then we have to go there with our shovels and our hose and build it.
yeah. Well, hopefully somebody has a bobcat to donate, right?
Okay.
I know how to
I'm
use a
in.
bobcat. Yeah, I can do
I'm
stuff.
I'm just texting my family, do not come in. We're meditating. I have to do this now every Saturday night. It's only fair. Otherwise, in the middle of the meditation, the dogs will start. So, is that what our topic is? Do you want to talk to me about the topic? Give me some words.
Let's see, Joe. I make grids for windows for a living. Would I still be allowed to visit an off-grid community?
That's pretty
Only
funny.
if you bring some of those grids with you.
Yeah, what do we do with the grids? What do the grids do?
It's like the window pane grids,
I want
probably.
windows in my yurt. I don't want to be in the dark. Yes, I would love some grids, please, for my windows in my yurt.
Very funny. I appreciate the laugh, Joe. Yeah, bless the animal you kill. Yeah.
Okay, meditating now. So is
And
that what we're
plants.
doing? Is that our meditation for tonight?
And plants too, guys. Really,
You're
anything
all
you eat
terrible with plants.
has consciousness. So just think it all. Um, yeah, for building community, however that looks. I mean, because there's I think that's kind of a open-ended way of doing it. What do you think? Resources will come in, and
Okay.
you're good at that. So I'll just leave it to you. I have no doubt that you'll handle it.
But it's like we said about writing a book or a song. We just open up and let the words and the intention flow. I think I'm getting it from you guys. You guys think you're getting it from me, and I'm getting it from you guys. Whoever's in the energy, that's where I'm getting it from. So
Uh,
that's why it changes every single Saturday night. Yeah.
it's good though. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. So meditating for 20 minutes. Please don't walk in. Sorry, I have to do this now, but it's only fair.
Oh no, because I know how the dogs act.
They're so loud when that
If
door
anybody
goes.
knocks or somebody comes in, dogs love to bark.
And then I'm actually writing a book here. I'll tell you when I'm done.
Yeah. Community building, starting with the heart. I totally agree, Candace.
I
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
like
Who said that?
heart-based community building, because that's Candace. Thank you so much, Candace, for
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
because that's it. That's what really matters,
Okay.
the love,
Oh, it sure does. I can just see it happening, guys. I really, really can. That would be so cool. Maybe I just need to reach out to Michael Tellinger, get him on the show. I'll go ahead and do that. And Gail and Gregory Hogue are coming back in July. They said they want to. I said, "Would you like to come back?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said,
Awesome.
"You and I are busy till July, so they're coming back in July." Sacred Geometry. Maybe we need Michael Tellinger to come out and kind of like tell us how we start our own Ubuntu community. I love that word, Ubuntu.
That would be cool.
Okie dokie. So awesome. Here we go. Okay, guys, everybody, you know the drill. Get good and comfortable. Just kind of, if you can close your eyes, if it's safe to do so, and you're not driving or walking or anything. Go ahead and just kind of relax into whatever's holding your body. Hopefully it's comfortable. Just kind of let go of your back muscles and let your back and your bottom sink into what's supporting you. And take a nice, deep, relaxing breath in. Hold it to a count of 3. And exhale to a count of 3. And hold it to a count of 3. Now you're ready for that deep inhale in, all that oxygen, that clean oxygen, counting till 3. Holding it to a count of 3. Exhaling when you're ready to a count of 3. And holding for a count of 3. One more time, really take in a deep breath. Fill your lower lungs. Hold it to a count of 3. Exhale to a count of 3. And hold that to a count of 3. Now we're just going to breathe in through our heart and exhale through our heart center. This is the heart maths breath. Breathe in through your heart chakra. And when you're ready, just exhale gently back out of your heart. If you like, you can touch your heart now, really entraining your mind and your heart together. And as you continue to breathe in at a pace that really works for you, go ahead and bring in, if you like, a big, beautiful, bright, clear, crystalline color. Whatever color you choose tonight will be the best one for your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and your spirit bodies. Let that color fill you inside and let it seep out, kind of surrounding you in a protective bubble of light, a cocoon. And just really kind of float in the middle of that protective bubble of light. Now send down a grounding cord, if you haven't done that already, from your root chakra all the way down. Keep going down through the different layers of the earth. When it gets to the center of the earth, it just spreads out in all directions. And virtually, emotionally, spiritually, we're all holding hands now. And we are completely protected by the love that's coming in our hearts and going out of our hearts. That is our ultimate protection, is that love. And now we're going to imagine together and visualize together and pray together, intend together, meditate together on a single concept of us and you and me and our families and our loved ones and our pets, anybody, maybe neighbors, people we want to include, creating new earth right here, right now, in the 3-dimensional matrix that we are sharing. What are we doing differently? Are we living on some beautiful land somewhere? Is it a mountain? Does it have the ocean nearby? Or just lakes and rivers and streams and beautiful grass and forests? You can decide what this land looks like, where you are going to create new earth in the physical. And we're going to do that together. So there's plenty of support. You don't need to worry. You don't have to build a house if you're not good with construction material, or maybe you are. And that's exactly what you want to do, is help build homes for other people in this new earth 5D, fourth density community of like-minded people coming together to reestablish community and what that means. Who gets to cook, garden, clean, create, build, make? What about the services? Having to have light. I'm sure they're going to be solar panels and wind energy, windmills, and water energy, hydroponic planting with water, clean energy. We just agree together that we want to make our energy resources as clean as possible to respect the earth. And of course, we'd be taking care of animals and respecting them. So if we had chickens, they would be free range, eating bugs, feet in the grass, happy lives. And some people would choose to have cows or goats for milk, and other people would say, no, I don't want milk, so you don't have to have milk. All these different levels of wanting, desiring, eating, drinking, building, living, so long as they were harmonious to each other and plants and animals and the earth, we would respect each other's religious beliefs and practices, and just really share a sense of joy in the fact that we have this earth and we love this earth. So we're going to treat the earth with as much love and care as possible while still living off the earth and from the earth. What would the schools be like and the teachers be like? And what would the art and the music for the children be like? And what would meditation be like and yoga? What would the health services be like in this new earth community that we are physically building right here on earth for others to follow and learn from? What would medicine be like? Would it be herbal and energetic? Is that your passion? Is that what you'd be doing and giving to all others? Could we make something together that we could sell to the outside community to get funds moving so we still have some monetary resources as we're transitioning away from money? Transitioning away from dependence on money, because we have community. We have everything we need. We have doctors. We have a pilot, maybe more than one. We have builders and teachers. We have healers. We have people who grow beautiful food and make wonderful food. And we have people who work with children and animals. Build anything we need, make anything that we need. And what kind of a structure would we have where there was not government, but some kind of organization, like a council, where people could move in and out of the council so all voices are heard. And the democratic process of voting on important community issues is truly democratic and truly free. So all voices are heard at all times. We'll just go silent now for 3 minutes, in which you can create and add any particular details that you want to see in and on New Earth. Now, just before you come back and open your eyes and start to stretch and move around, just really thank your highest self for guiding you into the realization and manifestation of creating New Earth in a community here now. And thank your guides and your angels, your ancestors, your deceased loved ones. And thank Earth, the creative universe, and thank God or Source, all that is. And start to open your eyes and stretch and really come back now. That's all right. I was feeling
Second.
very chill, just kind of relaxing into it.
Just trying to figure out. Wait, did I? Oh, Hold on a second. I know what I did. Oh, the moment of silence. That's what
I thought we lost the stream. I'm like, are we alone again?
No, I was in the moment of silence, and then I realized I never turned it back off. So, so sorry, guys. There we go. It was good. It was peaceful. It was loving. It was very
Cheerful.
nice. Oh, actually, I wanted to say Danica had said check out Eco Villages. Let me see. Eco Villages International Communities. I believe this is the one that I had looked in or heard about, I guess.
So we just have to move there? You just move to an eco village and you're part of a...
No, I think that's just what they call it. That's what we're wanting is an eco village.
Sounds good
And
to
then and then there's a network community for, that. Yeah.
I've
So
heard
that's
people
something to
build
look into.
houses out of old tires that have been discarded and there's nowhere to bury them or burn them. So they make houses out of tires. And they look like hobbit houses. Like Shiny Roberts is building like a hobbit. What's it called when you grow fruits and vegetables? Like
The greenhouse.
yeah.
Right.
So you start with tires and then you put land and grass over them.
Right.
So we'd live
Yeah.
like hobbits.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I told her I wanted to get her on to, because she lives here in town. I was wanting to go over and film her garden and stuff because I think it would inspire so many people, And she goes, well, I want to get some more done. And I'm like, well, I got the conference, so maybe after the conference we can just do some on location filming of it.
Oh, that'd be
It's
so much
cool
fun.
what she's done. Yeah, it's so cool what she's done all by herself.
And tell Shiny to intend that we live near Bigfoot and that Bigfoot's around because that would be super cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful land where there's Sasquatch.
Earthship homes. Yeah, I've heard that too.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Like domes.
Yeah. And of course, there's that one for veterans that Carrie, my buddy Carrie, lives at in New
He
Mexico.
does?
Yeah, yeah. It's for vets though, but it's like off-grid living. Yeah.
Wow.
So
There's so
there's a
much
lot
opportunity.
there's a lot of communities already doing this. So once again, I'm kind of late to the party again. I feel like it.
We're here and we're ready and we're
Right,
willing.
right. Yeah.
Now we just
Better
need
late
to
than
figure
never.
out how to do it.
Yeah. And if we can document it and encourage other people to do it in their own communities or whatever,
We could do it on the channel. We could document it for everybody to follow.
wouldn't that be something? Start having live shows every week, like actually live from
Yes.
the property. How cool would that be? Like we
That
did
would
at
be
East City. That'd be tight. That'd be
That
cool.
would be. That would
So
be
we're gonna
pretty
have to
awesome.
have electricity if we're gonna do that. But there's clean energy.
Wi-Fi,
So
we're going to do that. Or you could do what James does. James Gilland at he said he drives off somewhere to the town and uploads, and then he goes
right.
back to the ranch
Yeah,
because
we
it's got.
can. It can be Heartline too, like the old days, so that we don't have. It wouldn't be Wi-Fi, but you could plug in somewhere. You know what I
I
mean?
think so. Will
For a
somebody still
computer,
they hardwire Wi-Fi still?
you said, well, what?
Will they hardwire it onto wires and ground Wi-Fi?
Right, yeah, you can still just run it like Ethernet, like you've got. You can get like a router that isn't an actual Wi-Fi.
Well, that's cool. So I'm on the Ethernet cable. That means I've turned my Wi-Fi off. It's not transmitting into the air.
Well, you don't even have to buy the kind that can transmit. You can actually just get a router. It's basically a splitter, and you can have multiple Ethernet cables going into it, and then that that's where your service comes from. So it's never in the air. That's how it used to be back in the old days.
Dial up. I
Yeah.
can still hear it in my ear what it sounds like. Remember dial up, the tone?
Yep. And we were so happy when we had two different phone lines and we could both get in the chat room, and I don't know, it was just fun to chat with people all over the world. That was early 90s.
Yeah.
Very early days.
I got a cell phone and Wi-Fi in I was late, 1997. It was pretty late to the
Yeah,
party.
I think I was 92 or 93.
I'm the kind of person who wouldn't switch from cassettes until I absolutely had to. And then I wouldn't switch from CDs and go digital until I had to. So I'm one of those hanger-ons to like records and try not to change things, I know that's not great, but I kind
I'm
of
the
like the
same
old.
way. You go buy a new laptop, you're like, hey, where's the CD drive? Like, oh, they don't do that anymore. Well, I've always had one. I think, well, I never used it. Okay, whatever.
Oh, okay. So I don't need it.
Basically.
I bought an external CD drive that you can like plug in, and I don't even use that.
Right. I thought I was going to need something like that, but most stuff comes now where you can just download it. You don't have to have the CD anymore, and a lot of the things come with the software built into whatever the device is. So, you know, it's being handled without the CD, the need for CD. So it's cleaner. Things are moving to a cleaner.
I just have to keep up with it,
Yeah.
telling everybody it's okay to come in. It's all right if we set the dogs off now.
Yeah, the Ethernet is better too. It's less laggy, less latency.
I have to do it because I'm so far away, which is a good thing. I'm far away from all that stuff that's chasing the bugs away. That's why I have a cable, so that we have a steady stream.
We could have a small area where you could connect to the Wi-Fi if you had a smartphone, because there's no way to really plug the Ethernet cable into a phone. But
No. I'll let
like
you
some
guys handle
general
that.
area.
I'm not a very techie person. I still have to figure out what I'm going to contribute if I don't cook and I don't build and I don't grow and I don't do tech. I do
Right.
nursery schools, organic nursery schools. I do music. I do Mandela effect books. Like nobody needs that in the community. I do meditations. Everybody does meditations.
Well, me and Joe will handle the 5G towers. So
I'll
yeah,
do the kids.
I'm
I've
just
had a lot of
playing.
nursery
You
schools.
didn't even catch me.
I had a nursery school in Cairo. That was fun. And I had a nursery school in England that was organic.
It's cool.
We did we did baby massage and we did toddler meditation and toddler yoga. How fun is that?
Perfect.
2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds love yoga.
Yeah, that was I think it was the Twin Flame Divine Fire Radio folks that was telling me a story about some, I don't know, 2-year-old or whatever, kind of waving these crystals above someone's body trying to do energy healing and stuff, and it was so
That's
cute.
so cool. We
Like,
didn't do that. I would have loved to. That would have been just pushing my community in the UK, in England, a little too far. But what an awesome thing to see toddlers doing energy healing.
yeah,
Magical.
it's like they
Magical.
almost like they remember. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of remember doing this.
There's like no reason for it not to happen because their minds are so magical. Everything's possible.
Yeah, no limits, you guys. That's why we have to be like little children again.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
are in this community. We're getting more childish every day, more
which is a good
immature at
thing.
least.
Well, thank you so much, Eileen, for a wonderful meditation. Very peaceful,
Thank
and
you.
I do hope that we can
Thank you, Shane.
have something. I've always wanted something like that. In fact, early on, I was talking to my wife. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool to get like some land and like, you can help like unwed mothers with their, and I'm like planning her whole life for her and stuff. But anyway, she seemed like she was like down for some of it, maybe
Yeah.
foster kids or something. Because one of the things is we had, being that we had so many kids, it like broke our heart to hear about a family of 5 where they had to break the children up if something happened to the parents. So I'm like, I want to provide a place to keep a family together so
Yeah.
badly, even if it's just one family. It just breaks my heart to imagine that 2 of my kids could go to one family and 2 or 3 go somewhere else, or 3 different locations, because so that's where my heart was at the time. But
It's wonderful. And that's a good community service. If we could do that, that'd be so cool.
oh
There's no
yeah, I
reason.
never even thought about it. Yeah, why couldn't we do something like that?
Absolutely.
To keep a family together, to me that's like so important.
It is. It is.
So important to keep
Wonderful.
siblings together,
My sister
especially
wanted,
after they lose their parents. I mean, my
oh, yeah,
goodness.
then you got to have your siblings. That's when you need them more
But
than ever.
that happens all the time, and it's just, oh my gosh, it just
It's just
gets
wrong.
me.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just something that just shouldn't happen.
But they
It should
only
never
have
be.
what they have, and who can take on 5 kids, right? I mean, but anyway, I thought, yeah, if it was a community thing, that'd be kind of
My
cool.
sister always wanted to start a healing arts center where you go to heal and you have your Reiki and you have your massage and you have your acupuncture and
Hmm.
energy, everything in one place
Right.
with cabins, and people could go there and do whatever healing, experience whatever healing they're drawn to.
Hmm. Yeah, and one of the other things that a lot of times when you keep the family together, there's like a lot less chance of abuse and stuff going on, because now you got the
That's
older siblings looking out for the younger
more
ones,
drugs
and
and
just more
alcohol,
eyes. You're
all
right,
that.
right. So
No, that's all.
there's my my granddaughter right there. But That's the one that was born on July 26th. So what is she, 6 months old now?
She's putting her 2 cents in. She's giving her vocal blessing to what you're talking about.
She's so adorable. She wants Pawpaw, I'm sure,
Oh,
for a minute.
Pawpaw.
She'll stop crying for a minute, and then she'll start crying and want somebody else. She gets bored, but she's so adorable.
What does your grandson call you?
Pawpaw. I'm Pawpaw to both of them. Just like my dad was, yeah.
Aw, I love it.
Carrying on the legacy. It's beautiful.
When I lived in Trinidad, I think it was Trinidad, or it could have been Egypt, Pawpaw was papaya. They called it Pawpaw.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, you guys, we love you so much. We'll be back next Saturday night. Hopefully, we'll see how the timing goes. It might be a little bit later or something, but I think we can squeeze it in because it's supposed to get over at 8. And then
we're doing
kind of a fun debrief thing with
Saturday night.
Yeah, it'll be
You
the
guys.
kickoff day. Yeah,
And
so it'll be,
it's on International Mandela Effect channel.
that's
Because
right,
some
you guys.
people are
And
putting an IMEC on YouTube, and IMEC does not work on YouTube. There is an IMEC channel. It's not ours.
okay, just so you guys know, I put the link right at the very top of the description. You don't have to hit show more or anything. It says IMEC on YouTube, and there's a link, and you want to go there and subscribe because that's where it's all going to happen on the IMEC YouTube channel. That's where all the chat's going to happen. You can watch from the website, but if you want the interactive active experience of chatting with everyone and all of that stuff, then you definitely want to subscribe to the YouTube
And if
channel.
you don't have the link, just spell out IMEC, International Mandela Effect Conference.
That's
And
right.
if you spell it out, YouTube will put you in the right place if you lose the link.
Right. They're still in the good graces of YouTube for right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to stay that way. I
That's
really
awesome.
do.
Yeah, me too.
We're not getting super we're only controversial here. We're not getting super controversial over there. We
Right.
can't risk it.
Just the Mandela effect itself, but I think they've kind of loosened stuff with that maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
Now there's a movie about it, right? Adds
exactly. And
legitimacy
somebody
to
called
it.
it a horror movie. I'm like, was it a horror movie? I didn't think it was a horror movie, but okay.
Oh my god.
If you thought it was.
No, I thought of it as sci-fi suspense thriller, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, but that's cool that it's sci-fi and it's our life, right? I mean,
Exactly. And to somebody else who's a normie, that's called a horror movie.
So science fiction has become science fact. It's a sci-fi.
It's a sci-fact movie. I like that a lot.
All right, you guys. We love you so much. We'll see you next
Love
Friday.
you guys.
Peace.
Bye. Peace.
Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.